So many articles have been written about what to look for when choosing an advisor. I thought I'd take a mixed approach. In addition to the usual laundry list of attributes, I want to explore what to avoid. In investing as in life, the phrase winning by not losing comes to mind. While there are certainly empirical markers one can look to, and while empathy and bedside manner are often crucial, it's difficult to reliably quantify those sorts of things. But there are nonetheless serious red flags that constitute serious impediments to financial progress. It's been a decade since some of the most jaw-dropping smoking gun evidence about personal finance in Canada was released, yet most people are unaware of the problem. In 2016, an academic paper entitled The Misguided Beliefs of Financial Advisors was released. This may be the first time you heard about it, and that's because it's extremely embarrassing to the Canadian mutual fund industry. You can't be outraged by things that you've never heard about before. As investors, you can't protect yourself against bad industry practices if you're oblivious to them. The paper showed that Canadian mutual fund registrants overwhelmingly did three things wrong. They chased past performance, they ran concentrated positions, and they didn't concern themselves with product costs. All three transgressions run contrary to basic personal finance principles that are understood by even the most novice of investors. If you ever find yourself in front of an advisor who does any of these three things, leave the office immediately. Specific examples of these transgressions might include recommending funds with high MERs when cheaper and comparable funds are available, recommending 2 or 3 or more funds in one asset class as a means of diversification, making large bets in a sector like crypto or cannabis or AI, recommending funds based on 3, 5, or 10-year returns. Those are all the sorts of things that people should avoid because they're obvious tells that the advisor is less than professional and not inclined to make recommendations based on evidence or best practices. Instead, look for a financial advisor where you can talk about hopes and dreams. Solving specific problems is always great. Offering alternatives. So, should you take CPP now or later? Should you keep the pension plan or take the commuted value? Those are also critical questions. And since so much of financial life involves sound decision making, you have to think about things holistically. To that end, the explanations you get for the recommendations is always a great way to differentiate good advice from the kind that's not so good. You should also try to find someone who's a good fit. For instance, is it important to you that the advisor be local? Do you want someone from your community, which can be defined as geography, religion, ethnicity, or anything else, or someone who's decidedly outside of it, for confidentiality, for instance? How complex are your needs? How complex are they likely to be down the road? There are different types of advisors, and the fit is often critical. For instance, people in small towns might have to make do with a mutual fund registrant, either through an independent firm or through a local bank branch. If you want more and have enough money by way of assets, you could very likely find a good securities licensed advisor in any medium-sized city. If you're accredited, you may want to work with a portfolio manager who works on a discretionary basis and has a fiduciary obligation to clients. Using round numbers, there are maybe 80,000 mutual fund registrants in Canada and maybe 20,000 securities advisors and maybe 3,000 portfolio managers. It should be obvious, but I should add that the types of training advisors get varies primarily by registration. Obviously, there's a case-by-case situation that needs to be explored, but having at least one industry-specific designation is also a good show for commitment to continuing education and professionalism. The most widely accepted and respected of these is the CFP, which is the Certified Financial Planner designation, which is held by about 17,000 Canadians. Some CFPs work on an advice only, which is to say a fee-for-service basis, where they cannot sell products, but they charge by the hour or by the deliverable and send investors off to do the portfolio management elsewhere. Often, that's what do-it-yourself investors opt to do. There are many other tests for what to look for. I want to begin where I started, though. Instead of fretting over the elements that are nice to have, it's often easiest to screen for the obvious red flags that should be avoided at all costs. Most advisors are well-intended and decent people. Alas, some of them are so misguided that they themselves fail to recognize their own biases and wayward behaviors. It's great if you can win by finding a proverbial advisor that is perfect for you. However, there's much to be said by satisficing. Avoid the lemons and you'll likely be fine. At a minimum, you should aim to win by not losing.